Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Natsu Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Yano-kun's Ordinary Days, Season 1, Episode 9. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So it's been a little bit of time since the festival. I think it's actually been like a week. Based on what Yano said, I think he said subsequently, ever since he attempted to hold her hand, he's basically got more and more nervous around Kyoko. And it's like, initially he used to be able to shake her hand with no problem, but anytime they get too close, in fact, he has a cut on his face, and she's about to put a band-aid on, and he immediately ducks. She's like, what do you do? He's like, no, it's good. I can put it on myself. And she's like, you're bleeding on the other side. And he's trying to understand what this is about. Because for him, he's like, well, if my heart's beating this way, he's like, oh, it's a clear sign of love, right? Because he's like, I like that moment, like a couple episodes back when he looked at her and she was just like, in his mind, like the cutest, most beautiful, that perfect moment that he was captivated. Once again, sorry, I've been using that word so much lately. But at that moment, and it's just like, he's like, I'm feeling like that again when I realized like, oh my God, I'm in love. But for him, and he's going back to the manga. He said, oh yeah, the manga has a whole thing, when the main character, she felt, her heart was beating fast, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. But for him, the problem is he doesn't think it's the same because it's like, but my heart's going faster. It's going, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. I'm butchering that, but you get what I'm saying? It's going so fast that he doesn't correlate them as being the same thing, even though they are. So he's actually starting to wonder, like, is something wrong with me? So, she's bringing up, like, oh, yeah, there's a school festival. Because I think that was, like, her sly way to bring up the school festival so that she could ask him to go to the school festival. But she's like, oh, yeah, we're going to have, like, midterms, like, right around that time, too. So he's like, Yano's like, oh, would you like to study together? She's like, oh, yeah, like, it'd be great. We could get everyone together. He's like, how about just the two of us? And it's like, yeah, they basically have a study date, a proper study date this time, a one-on-one. So it's funny, all this stuff happening back, pretty close together, back to back. Well, relatively back to back. We don't know how much time has passed between, what was it, episode 7 was the movie date that they had and stuff like that. So, but the fact is that I love Kyoko's got Mei and Izumi in her corner where they're asking about, like, oh my God, like, what are you going to wear to the study date? Because this is going to be like your first official study date and stuff like that. Obviously, Hashiba overhears this. And so when he comes over to hang out with Tanaka and Yano in the art room, he accidentally lets that slip that he knows about it. And even Yano's like, wait, you know about that? But essentially, I love that Tanaka's there and I love it just has a little subtitle being like slacker. It's like the only reason why he's there is just because he enjoys slacking off. He's like, oh wow, you're doing such a great drawing of Kyoko, Yano. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm drawing the sculpture. And you looked out and it's a gorgeous drawing of Kyoko. He's like, oh my God, you're right. It is a photo of her. And it's like, wow, you must super be in love with her. He's like, yeah. It's like, the fact is he can't get her off his mind. He's like, oh, I'm drawing this thing, but it's like, it looks nothing like this statue. It's 100% Kyoko, which is adorable. And so I love that the moment Tanaka asked about it, he's like, oh my God, we should get together and stuff like that. And then Hashibata had to hit him in the head. He's like, you know what that means, right? Them being alone and everything. And Tanaka's like, okay, like, I'm gonna leave you two guys alone. It's like, I love that it took you a couple seconds to really think it through. It shouldn't have. I love that every time we see Tanaka, he plays the role of the lovable idiot. But the fact of the matter is, he's the one that got inside of Yano's head that it's like, oh, because Yano's wondering about like what he should dress up like, because Tanaka's like, oh, if you don't dress up in like anything, that stands out or whatever, the person you like might start like losing interest in you. And Yano's like, wait, that could happen. But Tanaka was like, he was joking. Don't listen to his stupidity, because like Yano starts like stressing about like, well, what should I wear? What should I do? And the fact of the matter is, because I love initially, like, when he had to stop Tanaka from, like, interrupting their get-together, I love that Hashiba was like, wait a minute, out of anybody, I should be the one that wants to, like, ruin this whole thing? And I love the little love, like, we have, like, Mio, Izumi, and Tanaka at the bottom. At the top, it's the love triangle between Yano, Kyoko, and Hashiba. And I love that it's like, oh, it has, like, when it comes to Yano and Kyoko, it has love, question mark, even has rivals, question mark, between them and stuff. I love that whole thing. But it is regardless of how he feels about Kyoko, he can't bring himself to be a douche. Because, I mean, Hashiba's a good guy through and through, but also he just can't bring himself to be mean towards Yano, despite, like, we both love the same girl. But it's still the thing of he is helpful, and he's kind of like, I can't believe I'm doing that. In fact, he's the one that gave him advice of like, hey, maybe do your hair a certain way, new way, even bring a gift. Because they were having a whole conversation about what kind of clothes he should wear. And then like Tanaka was pulling out like all these crazy examples. And even Hashiba's like, who's even that person? That doesn't even fit Yano at all. That feels like those fit completely different archetype of characters. And it's just like, Yano, just wear what casual, usual wear you would wear. That would probably be the best fit for you. And so I love that. And so with all that said and done, Yano thanks both Hashiba and Tanaka for their discussion about this, because they have become close friends of his. They're the people he can talk to or lie about this. So he felt comfortable enough to bring it to Hashiba. He's like, what does it mean, like, when I think about Kyoko and my heart like beats like crazy, like, is that normal or whatever? And then Hashiba just being kind of like, I have no idea. It's like, and I love it says like his little small defiance, because for him it's like, I'm tired of like helping you, my love rival, so this is my way to kind of like push back a little bit. But it's also like, it probably, it's also, I interpret it that way, but maybe it's also the small defiance is, so he doesn't, because acknowledging that would mean him understanding it, because he's exactly like that with Kyoko as well. And so maybe that's what the small defiance was more so about him, of like, I don't even want to acknowledge the fact is I completely understand what you're going through, because I exactly feel the same way, and you don't want to admit that. So, and he's like, oh, might be a small health thing you might check out. And now Yano, the entire rest of the episode, is thinking like, oh my God, maybe, is it really? I thought so, but is it actually a health thing? It's like, no, you're misleading him, just like the Tanaka thing. But it's like, even though he called Tanaka out for like, oh my God, like someone as innocent as Yano, of course he's going to take things at face value. But like Hashiba was so, I think, like caught off guard and nervous in that moment he said that, not thinking the repercussions of it. So we have Kyoko obviously trying to do eyeliner and stuff like that, and she's got Izumi and Mei there to help her. And it's like, oh, like Izumi could do it again, but Kyoko wants to be able to kind of do it on her own, because Izumi did such a great job with her makeup and stuff that she's like, Yano thought I was so cute, so now for her it's like, I want to try and recapture that. I even love later on May's like, blow his mind with how cute you are and stuff like that. And it's a really beautiful, I also appreciate, not only is it this kind of fun friend banter back and forth about the guy she likes, but it's also a cute and really beautiful moment between Kyoko and Mei as well, because while they're sitting down eating like they're kind of like fruit parfaits or something like that. It might just be regular parfaits, but it might just be regular parfaits. But May's looking at Kyoko, because she's like, oh yeah, tell me some of the things you like about Yano. And it's like, oh, well, me and Yano, we text each other back and forth. We're like, oh, here's a cat in his backyard. And it's like, oh, here's this. It's like, wait, did he just get attacked by that cat? It seems like it was the case. And I think he even texted, he's like, no, we reconciled or something like that. And she just talks about like, oh yeah, that kind of ends up being our conversation. She talks about like his eyes, like the fact is like, his eyes, they look a certain way normal, but then she's like, when he smiles, there's a certain shift in his eyes that she thinks is really cool. And even May's like, wow, a beginner would never kind of notice those little things, but like she's super laser focused on them. Even it's like, oh, Yano does this, he does that. Like even him working at the shop, and it's like, oh, he's really great with kids. So it's like this one moment where this kid's talking to him, and then the kids comment on his eye patch saying how cool it looks, which I love. That comes up later on when her siblings meet him, and the first thing they notice is, oh, an eye patch, so I think that'd be the first thing everyone gravitate towards. I mean, even we as the audience still don't know what the eye patch is about. Like, is his eye like massively damaged, or is it a thing that it constantly gets hurt and irritated, or like what's that about? Like, will you ever get an answer to it? Because no one's bothered asking, because I think it's like, it's not important, but I'm so curious, like, is there going to be a deeper story behind that eye? And then Kyoko had to stop herself, because she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm talking so much. But for Mei, it's like, for her, it's like, I'm really happy to see Kyoko so happy. And she's like, yeah, Yano's an unusual dude, but at the end of the day, like, I know, and like anyone knows, that Yano's a good guy. So she's like, don't, no matter what happens, I'm always going to support you too, which is like really sweet. But then she actually starts getting a little jealous because she's like, oh, it kind of feels like, yeah, I'm happy for him and everything, but she's like, kind of feels like Yano's stealing Kyoko from me. But then like Kyoko gives her some of her parfait and she's like, oh, taste it. And it's like, yeah, like like hang out and eat food like this again would be kind of fun. So it's like, right, she isn't leaving her best bud behind her. It's like, right, we should make more of an effort to hang out and stuff like this. And it's just like, it was really like, that's what moments like that are what I'm saying. Like, it's really sweet and beautiful that it's like, right, like I'm not getting so swept up in this this love boyfriend thing to like forget about my best friend. And I thought that was kind of nice. And it just, obviously it's not something like Kyoko was like actively thinking about. It's just Kyoko being Kyoko, and it just happened to, I think, I was about to say subdue, but I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Alleviate some of those fears. Alleviate the word I'm looking for, of Maze. So I thought that was just really nice. So when it comes to the time of the date, both of them got together and both of them dressed very nicely, styled their hair differently. He's like captivated by her, being like, oh my God, you look cute, cute. And then like his heart starts pounding like crazy and he's like, you look extremely cute. And she's like, what's up with that reaction? But she's like, yeah, like your hairstyle looks nice. He's like, oh, thanks. Because, he's probably worried about like whether she'd like it or not. So comes in fact, he actually brought a cake, and he was even like, I made sure on my way here, because he was like, I had my mom drop me off at least a little ways away. So I think twofold, his mom dropping him off a little ways away, but also the reason why he wanted to make a one-on-one date is because he thought like if it's just the two of them, maybe he'd have a better understanding of what's going on with his heart pounding like crazy. But I think that's also why he probably didn't want his mom like dropping him off too close either, because it's like he's running an experiment to find out like, yo, what's causing all of this, and maybe thought if his mom was nearby, maybe it wouldn't happen as often. So that was probably even more reason why I had her drop me off nearby, but not directly here. Either way, probably also needed time to collect himself in a lot of ways. But either way, but I love that line where he was like, I made sure that nothing happened to this. Like, no matter what happened to me, I made sure that the Keiko was okay. And she's like, what actually? So that means something happened to you, right? What happened? It's like, most likely him, like, everything under the sun probably happened. I didn't talk about this, but I do think it's really cute that obviously Kyoko went into this date. Luckily, being able to kind of, there's, I think some sales are able to find some Band-Aids pretty cheaply. And it's like, just in case, it's like, yeah. Always got to keep some on hand, just in case. Especially if he's coming over to her house, which I forgot to point that out to be the location of the date, which is pretty important. Either way, she's offering to cook him something on rice. And she's like, oh, if you prefer, we could go out to eat. And he's like, no, I'd love for you to cook. And he's like, in fact, can I watch you cook? And he watches her do it. And everything comes out great. And it tastes so good. And obviously he's getting more and more nervous around her, especially with the ketchup on her lip thing. And he thinks about Hashiba during the study date. So he tries to do that himself. But then while he's doing it, he stops after wiping the ketchup off because he's like, I don't know what else to do. And he's like, I'm sorry, there was ketchup on your lip. He's like, yeah, sorry about that. And immediately goes back to eating. Obviously, both of them are just a nervous wreck. After eating, I think they went straight into their studying. And it's like, oh, is there anything you don't understand? He's like, and she's like, oh, wow, you're actually pretty far ahead. He's like, yeah, I want to test, see how far I can get. And I want to I'm reviewing stuff along the way. He's like, I don't know if it's necessary, right? But I'm making an effort to review stuff as I'm going along. And, the question comes up of, well, what does he want to do after high school? And he doesn't really have an answer. He doesn't really know. But I think for him, it's just kind of a conversation of, I want to present like the best of my version of myself in front of you to kind of, bluntly speaking, is like I kind of want to look more reliable and cool in front of you. Which obviously for her, he continues to do that all the time. But unbeknownst to him, because he does stuff that he won't realize how cool it is to her and other people. I forgot what initially started it. I think it was just them studying, but there was something that sparked it in him where he wanted to kind of talk to her about, I think maybe it was him constantly holding on to his chest, and she's like, are you okay? And then he was about to bring it up, but her siblings came in, and he immediately went over. He's like, yo, thank you for having me. I brought this cake. Would you like to eat it? And so everyone shared the cake and was eating it. And then, luckily cheesecake is one of her favorites. And he's like, oh, I'm glad to hear that. And he's seeing her eat it. And like the look on her face where she's like, it's so good. It's just kind of like his heart kind of erupts again. He's like, yeah, sorry, I got to go home. My parents need me for something. And so he leaves. And it's just like, obviously he's making an excuse because it's just becoming so overwhelming. But then she walks him, a little ways down the street, and it's this cute thing of just kind of like, obviously the whole see you tomorrow thing, and this whole thing ended up being good. Thanks for the cake being delicious and stuff. But then as he was about to leave, she talks about the fact is, wait, like, she's like, she really enjoyed this whole thing. It was nice. But the fact is, like, her heart couldn't stop beating the entire time. And Yano was kind of happy about that, because as he's walking away, for him, he's like, okay, so it isn't just me. It happens for her too. So that is what this is. And it's also nice knowing, like, oh, so if she's feeling like that, that explains what I'm feeling. But then it's also nice to know, wait, she feels that way about me too, like I feel about her. So it's kind of this nice, beautiful wrap up. And then finally we had the post-credit scene where he's sitting with his dad, and she's like, like excited to see him tomorrow. The whole thing was nice, and he's kind of happy about it. And he's grabbing his chest, and he's just like, yeah. And I love that his dad's like, oh my God, are you having a heart attack or something like that? He's like, no, Dad, it's perfectly fine. It's not physical pain. I love that was his dad's immediate reaction and stuff like that, because everyone takes it as that, which I love that it kind of comes full circle, considering like that's what Yano was thinking it was initially, kind of worried about it, and then because of Hashiba's words made him feel like that even more, but he's come to realize what it really is, and for his dad to be on the other side of it being like, wait, what's going on? So it's like, I love that, especially considering how similar him and his dad obviously are. So I'm excited to see what the next episode has in store for us with this continued relationship and dynamic. As I'm curious to see how Yano handles things going forward. Obviously, the school festival got referenced, so I'd assume that's going to be a pretty big event. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.